therein lies the greatest opportunity for ministry and mission, in brokenness, in a shattered value system. We serve a God of resurrection. Therefore, the greatest opportunities for mission and ministry lie in the most broken places in humanity. It is in the badness of the world, in the sins and brokenness of us and everyone around us, where the greatest opportunity for Jesus comes to work in us and through us, to take what is evil and to resurrect it into something that is good. The saddest thing of all would be if our church got so inwardly focused that we missed seeing the wonderful opportunities out there in the community where we could make an impact. Presbyterian Global Fellowship was born in the last few years to help Presbyterian churches like ours grow inwardly strong and at the same time outwardly focused. Some of us have just started meeting on these first and third Thursday evenings of the week to pray and plan towards worship and outreach that is both inwardly strong and outwardly focused. And we'll be using some materials from Presbyterian Global Fellowship as our guide. And if you're interested in being part of this journey, whether you plan on attending contemporary worship or not, please come. We invite you to come and be part of rediscovering what it means for the church to be inwardly strong and outwardly focused. The saddest thing for us and for God would be opportunities missed or passed by. And Paul has a word to say on that subject. Paul wrote that Christians are to understand the times, but not to be sucked in by them. Paul is talking about the days being evil. He sees Christianity as God's resurrection power in these evil days. But if we Christians get sucked into the badness of the times and become bad ourselves, we won't be His resurrection people. We'll be just as dead as everyone around us. Paul gave 2 warnings against Christians getting sucked into the prevailing culture. In verses 17 and 18, he says, "Don't be foolish and don't get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery." Understand, Paul wasn't banning wine, he was banning stupidity. All right? He wasn't banning wine, he was banning stupidity. His point was that drunkenness and other foolishness leads to bad behavior and laziness and ultimately to missed opportunities. Paul does not want the Christians to be like everyone else. He wants us to be like Christ as we live His life out amidst the sin and brokenness of the world around us, to present God's message in both what we say and how we live. One reason that Christians and churches sometimes miss opportunities is that we just don't want to make the sustained effort that's needed. Thinking and dreaming is not enough. Christians live to put God's great ideas into action and work hard under His power at changing the world. The smartest people know that their smart ideas aren't smart enough. Thomas Edison was a genius, but he was also a tireless worker, and he would not have achieved what he did if not for a lifetime of hard work. To quote Edison, "Opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work." It's pretty good, isn't it? What happens when we miss opportunities for lack of understanding or laziness or just stupidity? Back in 1269, the leader of the Mongol people, Kublai Khan, sent a request from Peking to Rome for, and here I'm quoting his request, 100 wise men of the Christian religion. "And so I, Kublai Khan, shall be baptized. And when I am baptized, all my barren and great men will be baptized and their subjects baptized. And so there will be more Christians in here than they are in your parts." The Mongols were attempting to choose a faith, to choose a religion. It might have been, as Kublai forecast, had this worked out, the greatest mass religious movement the world has ever seen. The history of all Asia would have been changed if this had happened. But what actually happened? Pope Gregory X missed the opportunity. Instead of sending 100 or better yet 1,000 of his best people, he dispatched, get this, only 2 Dominican friars. They only made it as far as Armenia, and they turned back because they were so discouraged. Perhaps the greatest missionary opportunity in the history of the church missed and lost forever. What does it take to walk through doors of opportunity and see great things happen? We've already heard that we must understand the times, the world around us, but not be sucked in by its values. And so to not get sucked in by the world, we must develop some backbone, some inward spiritual strength. In verses 17 to 20, Paul tells us how to stay inwardly strong in order to make the most of each and every opportunity. Verse 17, understand what the Lord's will is. How do we do that? By hearing and reading the Scriptures on a regular basis. Verse 18, be filled with the Spirit. And that phrase means be continuously. Be filled and keep on being filled by the Spirit. Lean each day on God, filling us from the inside, not on anything outwardly. So hear the Word. Be filled with the Spirit. Lean on God who gives us inward strength. And finally, that bit that I mentioned at the beginning of the message, speak to one another with psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. Sing and make music in your heart to the Lord, always giving thanks to God the Father for everything in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Being inwardly strong isn't something so complicated that only Einstein could figure it out. Read the Scriptures, trust the Spirit, worship together, worship in your heart, and be thankful. That's how we stay inwardly strong. Church, opportunity is knocking. For each of us as Jesus followers, and for all of us as a church. Let's not be like Mark Twain, who joked, I was seldom able to see an opportunity until it ceased to be one. Here is my all-time favorite opportunity saying. I love this. Just picture this as I read this Bulgarian proverb. Seize the opportunity by the beard, for it is bald behind. Picture that. And so in closing, I think we need to have that vivid picture in our minds all week long. Opportunity running towards us like a very small man with a very long beard. Easy to grasp onto, but once he passes by, all we have to look at is a slippery bottom. Let's be inwardly strong and outwardly focused so we can grab on opportunity and not left wishing we'd grabbed onto his beard in the first place. And so on that spiritual note, I'd like for us to move into a time of joys and concerns. And the first one to share about an opportunity is going to be Caroline. So come on up, Caroline.